Welcome to the Lean Out Your Business podcast, a show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs accelerate business growth and simplify success. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and I've been working with businesses for more than 2 decades to help them lean out and optimize what's working while eliminating anything that's not adding value. So if you are ready to get more time back in your day, more profit in your business, and to do business differently, growing and scaling on your terms, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. Today, I'm excited to continue our discussion around AI. So if you did not catch the first part of this series, you'll definitely want to go back and catch that episode, because in it, I took you behind the scenes of how I'm leveraging AI and Lean Out method, as well as in my new business, which I'll tell you a little bit about today. I also shared some of the mistakes that I'm seeing people making that's causing AI to become more of a bright, shiny object and a distraction instead of the really smart, really strategic thing that you can use to simplify and streamline things in your business, save a lot of time and save a lot of money. So there's some really great ways to be leveraging AI. And there's also a lot of things that you want to be avoiding doing with AI. And I cover most of that in the first part of the series. In today's episode, what I want to do as a continuation of that discussion is look at intellectual property and privacy concerns. Because this is something that I don't see a lot of businesses giving enough focus and thought to right now. And I think it's something that we need to do to protect ourselves and also to protect the clients that we work with. So before I dive into that, let me tell you a little bit about the new division of Lean Out Method, because a lot of this security concern, intellectual property concern is something that I've been really heavily focused on in that piece of the business. And so what I'm doing in my new business is something that I've been doing for several years now. I'm just taking one piece of what I do in Lean Out Method and actually blowing that out into its own institute. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be training, mentoring, and certifying your right-hand leader in your business. And if you've listened to the podcast for a while, you've heard me talk about a SOL, a strategy and operations leader. And I truly believe, especially with the ever increasing use of AI, that the future of operations is strategic. And I think more and more we need to be infusing strategy into operations, in that the operational leaders of tomorrow must be strategy and operation leaders. So I'm building an entire institute around it called the Strategic Ops Institute. If you want a super early preview, you can head out to strategicopsinstitute.com and check that out. No, I'm building the plane as I'm flying it, so don't be surprised if what you see out there now changes by the next time you go and look. But I'm just getting ready to do that launch right now. And one of the certifications that I'm doing as part of that business is a chief strategy and operating officer. And within that certification are a series of standalone systems that they learn and get certified in. And one of those is the AI-enabled business. Because I think we need our right-hand leaders in our business to deeply understand AI, to understand how to leverage it, and to understand how to protect our data and how to protect our clients' data. So it's something that I'm really heavily focused on in the new business, because I see a lot of right-hand people in businesses. I see a lot of team members in businesses inadvertently put the business at risk. And so here's what I mean by that. There's the information and the content that you produce that's publicly available. Something that's publicly available, perfectly fine to feed into AI, because AI can pull that from the internet anyway. But a lot of your team members, especially someone who's at the level of a right-hand leader in your business, they have access to all of your proprietary data. They have access into your vision for tomorrow, into a lot of the strategizing and a lot of the things that are coming in your business. That's stuff that you might not necessarily want out on the internet. You might not want other people able to find that, especially if some of those things are your competitive advantage. Some of those things might be your intellectual property, your differentiator. And so I think we need to be putting guidelines in place with our team, with our partners, with our coaches, with our consultants, with our strategists and advisors as to what data we can put into an AI tool and what data we want to protect and make sure we do not, or which tools we feel safe and comfortable putting that data in, and which tools we do not feel safe and comfortable putting that data into. And as coaches or consultants or strategists or advisors or agency owners, as people who work with other businesses, sometimes we are the ones who have access to that proprietary data. I know I help most of my clients strategize and dream up their vision for tomorrow, and then I help them figure out how to make that a reality and implement on it. How to align the right team, the right systems, the right structure to actually make it a reality, right? So I have that unique vantage point where I see what the future of their business is. So I'm very careful with their data and with the way that I leverage that data so that I'm protecting them in the same way that I would want someone protecting me in any of my own intellectual property. When you think about your programs, your courses, the content that you produce that people pay for to get access to, not your publicly available content, but your private content that's behind a paywall. You're going to want to make sure that you're updating your terms and conditions or any contract that somebody signs to state what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with them leveraging AI for. Are you okay if they take your PDFs and your guides or your videos and upload them into an AI tool? And on the flip side, if you have coaching sessions and you are guiding people on things where you are discussing proprietary insider company information, are you comfortable with uploading their data into some kind of AI tool? And if so, which tools are you comfortable with and which ones aren't you? So these are some things that I think we need to be thinking about. And these are some things that I think we really need our team to be thinking about too. Because I know a lot of people think great AI is going to save so much time, and it does. It's going to simplify and streamline this, and it absolutely does. But in an effort to do their job really well and to do their job more efficiently, sometimes people are just grabbing data and taking things and loading it in without thinking it through. So I think this is where we need to be thinking about it, and we need to be communicating that with our teams, with our clients, with our communities. I know, for example, one of my clients who I work really closely with, she's one of my private clients. Her business is built on proprietary data. Her differentiator is her intellectual property, her unique way of approaching things. There really isn't anybody else quite like her. So she's super protective of which tools can be used, even for recordings from the meetings that we have. And I think that's actually really smart of her to be thinking about these things because, as I shared, what do I help people do? I help them scale their business. Scale is looking to the future. So we're talking about the future of her programs. We're talking about how we're scaling her business to multi-seven figures. We're talking about her next strategic moves, her next strategic hires. We're talking about all of these things that she is so super careful is not out in the world in any kind of way other than the way that she has control over. I have other clients who literally load absolutely everything into ChatGPT and don't think twice about it and aren't very concerned about privacy or intellectual property because they don't really see it being much of a risk. And so just even in my private clients, I have people on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. At the end of the day, regardless of what our unique perspective is on how risky it is or how safe it is or what somebody should do or shouldn't do, we can't make that decision for other people, and other people can't make that decision for us. So I think we need to be looking at our contracts. We need to be looking at how we communicate the use of our data. If you're going to send an NDA to somebody, make sure that you're including your parameters around AI in it. If you're going to send a contract, make sure you're including that. If you're hiring someone onto your team, make sure that you have things in your company playbook that specifies how and which data and information they're able to leverage and which tools they're able to leverage for anything AI related with your intellectual property. Now, I personally actually put most of my intellectual property in AI, but I'm super selective in which tools I use and in which ways that I do it. And I never put any of it in free versions of tools like the free version of ChatGPT or Claude or anything along those lines. I have the paid versions in very select tools that I use where I'm more comfortable with my data being in there because they give better security measures and better protection of data. So at the end of the day, I think we just need to be transparent. We need to be transparent whenever we have access to data that may be considered private, and we need to be transparent with how we want our data handled that's private. That to me is a key piece of the AI-enabled business. And so with that first topic wrapped, I wanted to cover a couple other things that I've gotten asked since the last episode. And I had many people reach out to me and say, I loved what you shared. I love to hear how you're using it from a content perspective. How else are you using AI, or how else should I be thinking about using AI? So I thought I'd run you through just a few use cases. In the last episode, I shared how I am using it for content and content repurposing. I also shared how I'm using it as my clone, so people can interact with me inside my paid programs and get my feedback and get taken right directly to the sections of the program that give them the answers that they're looking for. It's really quite brilliant the way that it works. But there's a lot of other things that I'm doing with AI as well, and a lot of other things that you can be doing with AI also. So let's think about the pillars of strategy, planning, systems, team, and insight, SPSTI, which you hear me talk about often. So if we blend strategy and planning for a moment, most people don't realize this, but you can actually use AI to help you with strategic planning. So you can take your vision, you can take your goals, you can take your financial targets, you can take your major projects or your major marketing campaigns, and you can load it into something like a ChatGPT and ask it to help you create detailed plans or to analyze the plans that you already have and see if there's any gaps or anything missing. You can have it help you sequence things so you know when things need to get done. You can have it help you understand how long things are going to take. So there is a lot that you can do to connect your vision down to the day-to-day execution in your business, leveraging AI tools. Now, your AI tools are never going to do your full strategic planning for you, but they can help you and they can help close the gaps and make sure that you're not missing anything important. If we move on to systems, you can use AI to help you define your systems, to create your processes, to create your SOPs. One of the things that I teach people inside my Simplify to Scale program is how to create really good, simple, strategic systems to help scale their business. So they don't end up overloaded with all of these SOPs that nobody uses and that just ends up collecting digital dust. So I help them understand which type of systems are needed, which level of detail are needed, how often things need to be maintained, all of those details. And what's really great is that I have set templates that I've created for all of that. Well, you can take those templates and you can plug them right into an AI tool, and it will create the majority of your SOPs and your systems for you. And it will output it in the format of the template that you give it. So I have prompts and things that I'm sharing with people that helps them to go in and dramatically simplify their SOPs and the systems and processes that they create in their business. AI gets like 60 to 80% of it done. And then you have to fill in some of the unique contextual things that are really hyper specific to your business that it would never know without you plugging that detail in. But it cuts the time down to about a third or even a fifth of what your team normally would have had to spend to get those created. If we move on to team, in the future, businesses are going to have an entire AI team. But part of what I shared at the beginning of this episode is I really think that the future of operations is strategic, is because the majority of operational activities and tasks are going to be able to be fully automated or almost fully done by AI. And so today, if you have somebody on your team at the bottom layer of the pyramid, what I call the strategic ops pyramid. And they're really in more of an execution role. They are purely a doer and somebody who follows SOPs and checklists to do the majority of their job. If you have those people on your team today, it is very, very likely that their roles will be 80 to 100% done by AI and by pure automation in the future. Where you really need people and where you really need team members is people who can think strategically, people who can go through all of the different context and who have that critical thinking skill and who understand your business, your goals, your clients, your market, all of the unique context that allows them to set the right strategies and make the right decisions to ultimately bring your vision to life. That's where your team is going to be so incredibly important and valuable. And that's why I think that we need strategy and operations leaders across the board going forward. So where I'd be investing in your team right now is I would be sending anyone who's in an operational role, anyone who's in a doer role, I would be sending them for some kind of training or certification to up level to become more strategic thinkers and to become more strategic partners in the business. And I would be training them to understand how to leverage AI to automate a lot of the things that they do manually today. This is something that I'm going to be doing pretty extensively over in the New Business and Strategic Ops Institute. And something I have coming up next month is the launch of an AI training program where it's for both founders and their right hand or their team members to really understand how to do a few core strategic things, leveraging AI to simplify and streamline things in their business, get time back, save a whole bunch of money. And it's a lot of what we've been talking about in this episode. If you want to find out the details of that, just go to strategicopsinstitute.com/AI, and you could learn a little bit more about what I'm going to be covering in that. But I do think that team is going to be shifting and more, you're going to be relying on AI and automation as a key part of your team. And then finally, to round out SPSTI is insight. And there's so much that you can do with AI and with automation to gain the insights that you need in your business to see what's working, what to double down on and do more of, what's not working and that you want to lean out and let go of. AI can help you understand what KPIs or OKRs to track. It can help you analyze your financials. It can help you make projections based on past data. There is so much that you can be leveraging AI for. And that is both a blessing and a curse because the opportunities are endless and there are more and more tools and more capabilities that get added every single day. But with that, things can also feel really overwhelming because there's so many new tools and so many new capabilities. It can be really hard to know where to focus and which things are actually going to give you a return on your investment and save you time and money versus just simply costing your focus and adding to your expenses. So you might be surprised to know that even with all of the things that I do with AI in my business, I actually only use about 4 or 5 tools. I keep things really, really simple, and I make sure that I'm leveraging the AI capabilities within the existing tools that I'm already using. So I run my entire business on Monday and Miro, and so I leverage the AI capabilities in those tools. But then there's specific tools on top of that that I use pretty regularly. And if you did not get the list of the AI tools that I'm currently using, you can grab that in the workbook that accompanies this episode, as well as the workbook from the first part of this series, which if you have not already gotten that, just head to leanoutmethod.com/insider and sign up for my weekly newsletter. And you will get instant access on the thank you page to all of the past workbooks that have been sent out for the solo episodes that I do. And you will get emailed the new workbook for any new solo episode that I release, which tends to be every other week. Although I've got some fun mini series coming up, so I'm going to be doing a little bit more frequent solo episodes in the near term here. So there is so much more that I can say about AI, and I am sure I will do some additional episodes. But for now, I hope this gave you some things to think about related to privacy and intellectual property and making sure that you're updating your contracts, your terms and conditions, and that you're being really thoughtful about your clients' data, and that you're really educating your team on doing the same and understanding what's okay to use and what's not based on your level of comfort, as well as opening up some possibilities of the many different ways that you can leverage AI to simplify and streamline things in your business and ultimately scale your business. So I have numerous resources for you on AI, including the training that I mentioned that's coming up. I have a guide on the top 100 ways that you can leverage AI. I have the tools that I use in my own businesses for AI. I have the workbooks, you name it. I have a whole lot of things related to AI, and you can find all of them over at strategicopsinstitute.com/AI. So if you head over there, you can kind of find the one-stop shop for all things AI that I have going on in both of my businesses right now to help support you in leading an AI-enabled business. I will see you again next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode. If you have not yet taken our scalability assessment, I invite you to head to leanoutmethod.com/assessment and take our interactive assessment that's going to help you look at how simple, how sustainable, and how scalable your business currently is. It includes personalized recommendations of where to focus next to get your time back, to increase your impact, increase your profits, and ultimately step into your rich, fulfilled life. And finally, we'd love to see you inside our signature program, Simplify to Scale. You can head to leanoutmethod.com/ops to find all of the details on how we can help you uplevel your operations and get out of the day-to-day of your business.